Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
All right. Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Charles Gibbs with me here today. Charles is an optimist, realist, and an entrepreneur with over 40 years of direct sales and marketing experience, worked with both business customer and business shoppers. Blah. He takes the problem-solving approach to selling, to help and to serve. He is passionate about helping others to get what they want so that in return, I can get what I want, is what he has in here. That's Zig Ziglar all the way. I love it. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Charles.
Thank you.
Okay, great stuff. So let's talk, before we get a snapshot of sort of your business and your experience and stuff, tell me a little bit about Zig Ziglar and the influence of some of your mentors.
Yes, I think that as I think back to understanding the power of thinking, it kind of came from my experience with listening to and reading Mr. Zig Ziglar's perspective of life in general, how we move ourselves from where we are to where we'd like to be, all empowered by our thinking. You are as you think. You are.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Start the show off with some deep philosophy.
Deep philosophy. Get down to the grassroots. A house without a great foundation is shaky.
Heck yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what you do right now. A snapshot of where your business is at right now, and then what got you there.
Yeah, my whole thing is I spent over 35 years in direct sales and marketing. Okay, and sales has always been a big part of how I felt as a person, because I really was into helping people to solve their problems. Early on in my life, I took more of a salesman approach than what I take now and have for the last probably 20 years, which I consider to be a problem-solving approach.
Okay.
Helping others to define and understand their problems and talking to them about their own desires and willingness to solve it.
Okay. Sounds like you sometimes have to put on a therapist hat to get to help them figure out what they want.
Well, even though I'm not a doctor, I have to take that approach. I mean, if I can't get to the grassroots of your situation and you can't identify with it, then how helpful am I?
Right.
Okay. And so I take that approach and have for years. People a lot of times have yet to identify with the problem, particularly when it comes to business and how they approach it, go about it.
Okay. What's your advice for people who are in that position when you're trying to help somebody or a customer or something who can't articulate or doesn't even know maybe the nature of their problem, or they're not clear on what they want?
I think it has more to do with the fact of understanding whose problem you're trying to solve. Is it your own, or is it that of the person that you're trying to do business with? Okay. Get that clear in your own head. To help others, you have to think that approaching them in a way where you can identify either previously, before meeting them, what's going on in their situation, so that you can put it on the table and they can identify with it. Desire is the only thing that'll help a person to make a change. They have to have that. So everybody has to be on the same page when it comes to problem solving.
Okay. I also imagine it's a lot of questions, expertly led questions, almost like an attorney leading a witness to help them figure out better what their problem is.
The art of discovery, my friend.
Okay.
That's it. Once you understand the art of discovery, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so... But I do know that everything is built around it, okay? And when you talk about solving someone's problem, you have to discover what it might be. And then you have to, in a sense, ask questions in a way that they understand. Because, sometimes people have problems that they don't understand that they have, or they have no interest. You have had it for so long, it's like, all right, it's changing anything. So you have to be aware of who have the level of desire that's needed to want to be helped. And if you're ignorant of the questions that you may want to ask or need to ask when it comes to problems and solutions, then, that's where you have to, really sharpen up how you ask questions.
You mentioned in your bio, in the intro, that you're an optimistic realist. And I think as an entrepreneur, you kind of have to be successful as an entrepreneur.
Well, see, what I've found, and that's so true, Tim, because the main thing I got from Mr. Nightingale, is that you have to have a lot of confidence in how you think and approach things, And to be like that, you have to understand what that is. Most people are entrepreneurs, and they have no clue of the entrepreneurial mindset and traits. None. I mean, absolutely none. And when I say most, 90% of the people that I talk to who are entrepreneurs couldn't mention truly or explain two of the simpler traits. The ones that help you to recognize that even though you own your business, it's about others more than yourself. If you have a employee mindset, wait for everyone, if you will, to tell you what to do, when to do it, how long to do it, and all that kind of business, that doesn't transition very well into entrepreneurship.
No.
Because there's no one in that other room to actually bounce things off of. It's all about you and how your perspective of wanting to serve, helping to serve others, so they can get what they want. The more you understand how to go about that, the easier it is for you to grow whatever niche you're in, because it all requires the same thing. We're in the people business, to help and to serve. That's it.
So what would you say are the biggest problems entrepreneurs run into when they're trying to sell?
Well, they're kind of out there on their own. The biggest problem, I think, that most entrepreneurs don't understand is that you have to surround yourself with a team of people. If you're in real estate, as a real estate investor, one of the first things I learned was that your strength is about your team. You got to surround yourself with appraisers and real estate attorneys, not just attorneys. People who understand the dynamics of real estate acquisition. And as a small business owner, you're operating small, but you really have to approach things very much like the bigger companies do, i.e., be positioned to service your customers. I came from the old school of that whole thing of understanding that selling can come easy. Servicing is a little hard. And if you're going to sell people and you're not going to focus on how you're going to service them, then that's going to be a problem, because what you'll find is such a revolving door of people not staying with you, customer retention. It's how you minimize, a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a lot of competition in sales in general.
Yes.
And what are the traits that you think set you apart the most?
I think the ability to ask the right types of questions under the right circumstances based on why you here. Okay. When people, it's kind of like that knock on the door. I did some door knocking back in the days. I hated it. The reason I did is that uncertainty on the other side of the door.
It's very I've heard, I've not had to do it, but I've heard a lot of people say it's very educational. It's very constructive, right? It's very tough. It's very hard. And those are the things.
The only thing that's certain about that whole aspect, door knocking, is uncertainty. Okay? Okay? Because you don't know what's going to go down. However, the first 5 words out of your mouth will kind of balance a little bit of what the person on the other side. You got to kind of think like what's happening on the other side. Knock, knock, knock. Who is this? I wasn't expecting anybody. Right. So who are you? What do you want? Why should I care? That's it. That's what they're thinking, and you had better follow that order. If you're a doorknob, that's all I can say. Now, if the visual of you is an issue, you may want to take that in consideration, as I had to. Okay? Because, Tim, a lot of times people don't care what you got to say.
Sure.
Because their sense of sight has told them enough.
Okay. Well, I've heard like 70% of communication is nonverbal, right? We're visual creatures.
We're visual creatures. It's our worst sense. Worst sense. If you don't believe it, and of course, you're being a smart guy from the Smart Guy Club, okay? You know that when you read things like Helen Keller, okay? When you see people like Stevie Wonder and people of that nature, understanding how to operate without those senses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think of Helen Keller.
Yeah.
Come on now. You take away the sense of sight, she can't talk. Only thing she can do is hear and feel. Okay? And smell. And those 3 senses, as we know, and I know, I've read her bio. I was just like, I don't know what my excuses are, but I can't write anything. I can't even remotely get in that area of having like real excuses. Well, I can't do this because it can't be. I can't see this. I can't hear this. Okay. So if taught the right way, you interact with people in ways that helps them to get past their own insecurities and lack of communication. Because 2 people with those problems can't communicate. Okay? So somebody's got to come to the table. That's all I ever thought about. In sales, I always wanted you to get what you wanted, Tim.
Right.
But I really learned how to help you to understand what that is. Right. And if you knew, I wanted you to help me to know that you knew. So I ask those kind of questions that take us both to a place in which, because I already know what I know that walking up, okay? And when you're a commission sales, it's always the same. You want to make a sale, okay? However, my purpose was for you to get what you wanted. That was my purpose. That's how I approached every sale. I approached that way, and I lost some managers doing it that way, because a lot of managers are taught at all costs you get that sale.
Right.
Okay. I never bought into that, and of course, at this stage, you're on the OG side. There's no time to buy into that kind of thinking.
Right.
Okay. I'll just find the person that this suit fits.
A similar analogy here. I was just in the market for a new car for the missus, and I went.
Oh boy.
She wanted a new Mustang, and
electric.
No, she didn't like the electric. I wanted
her
really
like sound effect. Okay, then that's the right woman.
She just the tuning to the loudest possible. But I went to the closest dealership, and they had this car I wanted, and I just couldn't stand the salesman. He was It was so bad and pushy and didn't listen to me at all. And so I had to leave and go to the other one where there's somebody who was super nice. And I was like, yeah, I'm transacting with you all day.
I've been there, done that. That was my industry. I sold Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Chevy, Ford. I spent most of my time in the high-end side of Mercedes-Benz. Okay. But because of the fact that what you just said, 5 years ago, I went to several car dealers, okay, because I wanted to help them to train their salespeople to be more sympathetic with the fact that most car shoppers hate it.
Right.
Okay. And if you compound that factor, your ability to make a sale, if you will, is margin. Okay. Because the person that is very much like Tim, who comes in with a thought in his head, and the last thing that he gets to share with you is that thought. Because you're being pushy, you're asking all of the wrong questions. Okay. Right. You're being so typical of what he anticipated that he's probably going to leave. Okay. But don't blame the salesperson. You know who to blame? Who? The owner.
Okay.
Because he has managers or she has managers who practice that kind of nonsense.
Right. Right.
And this is 2024. Okay. And what you just said was said 30 years ago.
Right. The same practices going on. That one was the corporate owned bigger one. I went over to the family owned dealership, and the sales philosophy was very different.
Very different. Corporate have lost their minds. They did a long time ago. Manufacturer doesn't really know what to do with them.
It was that whole, I'm going to go talk to my manager, come back, do this, that. It was all that. And it was, anyway.
And it's almost like you have to train shoppers how to shop for cars. Okay. Because there's a certain level of corporate expectations, corporate salespeople,
mm-hmm.
You know, the ones that trip you at the door, stand out.
Right.
The ones that do all of that stuff that most shoppers hate. But yet, it's gotten so bad in that arena, okay, that the manufacturers basically have made decisions. I did a review on an auto show a couple of years ago, okay, here.
Okay.
And there were basically no salespeople invited. Now, what is an auto show without sales? It's like, is this a museum show or is it an auto
right?
show?
Okay. Right. Nobody to ask questions.
Nobody to ask. I mean, okay, now hold on a sec. This is where manufacturers trying to have their cake and eat it too. Okay. You want people to come in and be educated on the car, but you don't want anybody to ask for a sale. Now, I think, because again, I'm old school, okay? I think it's an injustice for a person to try and buy something and feel confident about it that they only do once every 3 to 5 years. Okay? So there's a certain need for the salesperson to really be the educator and the informer and the connector of what you want, what I got, and how are we going to marry those two so that you can confidently stroke that pen and write that big check or sign for that big contract. These cars now, 50, 100 grand, it's nothing.
Yep.
Okay. And I've been out of the industry for about 15 years.
Okay.
That's when I transitioned into doing the whole digital marketing agency and working with small business owners to help them to be better marketers, really to help them to be better stewards of servicing customers. Because how you bring people in, how you, if you will, sell to people, give them an indication of how you will service them. And if service is on the other side of your business, If you do it right, you won't have to struggle so much of getting new business because people will, particularly now,
Right.
I mean, you can talk to 10,000 people in 10 minutes.
Yep.
Back in my day before Google, because I came before Google, so things were a little different. You had to do the standard communication, the phone calls or, the letter or postcard in the mail, or whatever the case is. But I think to meet Tim where he is and his thinking is more fun. Okay. That's the problem solving approach.
Right. So if someone listening to us right now wants to get better at marketing and sales, what do you suggest they do?
I suggest that you do a hard study on becoming a problem solver. Okay. Because when you take that approach, you take the stress off of having to sell someone versus helping people to buy. Okay.
Right.
Because there's only two ways to buy anything, informed or uninformed. And when you're making those kind of decisions and you know that the person you're talking to is not going to, quote unquote, sell you what they got unless what they have fit what you want or need.
Right.
And problem solving gives you that flexibility. So stop with what I was trained with, which they call the ADCs of selling, always be closing.
Right.
To the ABDs of selling. Okay. Always be discovering.
Okay. Like it. I'd also add to that I've, people don't like to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
They like to buy.
Yes. Right. And it's hard for salespeople to understand the dynamics of that. They say, well, people don't like to be sold. Then how do I sell them? Well, you ask
the solution
questions about the problems that they have. And that problem can be as simple as, man, I can't keep my office clean. I'm in Arizona. I open up the window and I come in my office and it looked like a dust storm had been up in here. That type of thing. And you talk to a clean person about the cleaning person talks about the fact that, if we consistently do this, you won't have to worry about that dust. I mean, this here is not going anywhere. So that means you got to clean your office more often, unless you don't want to open your windows, So everything is relative. And I think, in my opinion, as I see things, from where I am, where I stand now, if you train your salespeople to focus on being helpful, because selling really is, if you look at the definition, selling really is selling. Selling is about helping serve. Okay. Help me, okay, to get to the point of understanding my problem if I am not there yet. And train your salespeople between the difference between like B2C and B2B. Okay. Because I was in B2C for a long time. Right. Then I got out, basically went into B2B. Okay. When you talk about business to customer versus business to business, all right, one is both of them are feel good. Then you buy something, you think you made the right feel good. Okay. But one is more personal. B2C is a real personal feeling. It's like, I really want to feel good. Doesn't mean you don't want to feel good as a business owner buying something. However, it's that ROI mindset on the other side that you need to have.
Yeah.
Was understanding. Buying things is a part of the game. Spending money is a part of the game. Okay. However, if you understand the relationship between the money spent and the return on that investment, the ROI aspect of it, and that mindset is set that way, every time you drop a dollar, you think that way. And that is something that separating the some salespeople, just B2B, B2C salespeople. Okay. And they're talking to B2B buyers. Okay. Well, depending on what you're selling, this may only be a feel-good situation. Okay, that vacation you took last year for $10,000. That feel-good situation. Okay. It may not be that I spend 10 grand And if I do this thing right, I can realize the 20, 30, 40, 50 grand return.
Right.
Okay. So you have to get those things right in your approach, the types of questions you ask defines that. So I think it has more to do, in my opinion, with salespeople. Learn how to ask the right types of questions in the right circumstances of the right people.
Okay.
Then you may be able to find out if you can help this person to buy what they need and what they want. Sometimes people buy what they want because they got the money. Okay. They don't buy necessarily for need. But in business, you gotta be real careful.
Right.
Because need is where the ROI is. One is that feel good thing. Okay.
Right.
As you want it, not need it, this is not going to give you the return, okay, that you are interested in getting. So being where I am, I don't do, B2C sales anymore, even though I do, because every person is a customer or a potential customer, which is another thing that I talk to. I've had managers who were ignorant of this whole aspect. Okay. We all come in a format as far as business and sales is concerned, as for, when it relates to people. So you have what they call, and I said this to people, I'm a glorified lead generator. Okay. So you have leads. Okay. Now, leads have to be filtered and defined. Okay. Is a lead a prospect? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Is a prospect a customer or a potential customer? Under most circumstances, he or she, if they've made it to that slot of being a prospect, can potentially be a customer. A lead is a warm body who sucks up oxygen. Okay. That's basically all it is until you clarify. All right. It's like the difference between what you want and what you need. Okay. I think we all went through that phase of life because parents have a way of helping you to figure that out a little bit. Okay. Because most kids want stuff that they don't need. They just want it. Okay. And in business, you got to be very careful with that because there is a distinct difference between what is needed in that business operation versus what you want. Okay. And those of us who are declaring, I guess, kind of like the coaching position, we have to be for sure that you understand that you're not trying to position your wants in the place of your needs. Okay. Because you may not want it. Right. But the question is, does your business need it?
Right.
In order for you to function at a higher level? And, I think somebody has to help you to answer that. If you can't answer it on your own.
Right. Right. So speaking of wants and needs and returns on investment, I like to talk investing sometimes. Can you speak towards your own sort of goals in generating other streams of income, right? Passive income, replacing an active income. As a salesperson, I imagine a lot of your income used to be when you were doing maybe more commission-based stuff was very active, right? You
Yes.
kind of an eat what you kill scenario.
Yes.
And so
Hunt all the time, hunt every day. But I like to, I come from a fishing side of things. It was just a love. Okay. Now I chase a little white ball. But anyway,
okay.
You can't do both. Okay. Because both of them takes hours.
Okay. So I know you mentioned earlier that you do appreciate real estate. Do you have different streams of income philosophies for transitioning away from being stuck in the active sales role?
Yes. I think every time and this is interesting, you would ask this because when people reach out to me and okay, let me introduce him to my business, okay, because he may see an opportunity here. Because one of the strongest traits of entrepreneurship is that chances are you're an opportunist, okay? All right, that just comes with the territory. And you can't run from opportunities, you have to run to them. But you still have to be able to define the two factors, active and passive. Okay. How active is that opportunity? What do I mean by that? How much energy I got to put into this? Okay. And you got to keep it real. All right. Because if you got to really dive in and be totally in tune and you're early up and late to bed and all that kind of business, and you're my age, and you're kind of thinking, oh no, we won't be doing that. Okay. So you think passive. All right. What's the most? Okay. So investors, we have people, like stockbrokers and other people, doing stuff for us and all that kind of stuff. And we call that passive. Okay. And that is passive. But if you want to get in a business where you are more of an affiliate, see, I've gone from being a salesperson to being an affiliate marketer.
Okay.
Okay. I affiliate myself. I tee it up and I flip the switch. Basically is what I do. Okay. And whatever your product or service is, if I want to be the person behind attracting people to it and then buying, I want that on as much of a passive scale as I can get it on.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of the digital world that we live in. Okay. Now, someone has to do the physical side, right? But that's kind of like Amazon. Okay. I'm not packing up anything or doing any of that stuff. I'll just present, stage it, and someone else does the other part of it.
Right.
And real estate is kind of that way now. Okay. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Look at how far Airbnb has come. Okay. Bed and breakfast has been around as long as there's been a bed and breakfast. Okay. But now it's Airbnb or whatever. Okay. And the whole thing is that because of the fact that you get the opportunity to kind of passively play in that game, because all you got to do is stage it. And if you do it right, you can have a lot of people in play, such as housekeepers and all those kind of people in play. And you're pretty much just in the background, okay, being for sure that, thing is operating the way that you want. There is tax lien certificates are a big part of the real estate game that I've played in and still do a little playing in.
Okay.
Note buying. I'm getting a little bit more active in finding, declaring, and presenting. Again, passive stuff. About as passive as you can get. Because I'm not watching anybody swing any hammers or doing any stuff. Okay. Right. Now, I'm not saying that that's not a place to play. You got to understand what part of the game you're actually playing in, Tim, right? When it comes to business. Okay. Because the more service driven it is, and the more that you are responsible for, you're in the game. You're in the kitchen. Okay. Right. This is where stuff gets made, created, and you have to accept that. And I think that's kind of the part that because I've been through a number of different storms, and I believe that in business, when you take a real business approach and identify with how that business process and what it looks like, you can determine what role you want to play. Right. Okay. If you want to play at all.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Good stuff, Charles. Thank you. If people want to connect with you directly or learn more about improving their digital marketing and sales, what should they do?
Well, I give a free 30-minute consultation, and I have a calendar at Calendly. Okay. and / know your lane. KNOWLA. Yep. Know your lane. Just as it is pronounced. And there we just talk about you, where you are, where you know, some of the things you've done. And that consultation isn't about criticism. It's about identifying with the relationship between what you know, what you don't know, and what we share with each other, what I talk about. And you'll determine if I know what I'm talking about or not, unless you just got into business yesterday. And if you did, I'm probably your best bet, because I don't think you can afford the other guys and gals because their overhead is too high and they have to charge you too much. But I think that the easiest way to know in business how competitive things are is to find out who the top 3 to 5 competitors are in that niche. And then you'll know what you need to bring to the table.
Okay, good advice there too. Thank you.
Absolutely,
Charles. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching and listening. Thank you very much, Charles Gibbs, for joining me today. We appreciate you. Appreciate you sharing your story and insights into success and sales and problem solving.
Thank you. It's fun over here.
Excellent.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.